Hi, this is B from Sorcery Soap, and today I'm using a soap dough color called Lollipop, and I'm going to make some buttons with this. Ooh, bird just flew into the window. I put it under plastic because I have a plan. So, let me show you. So these are the round soap cutters, cookie cutters I use from Ateco. You can see they're kind of beat up. I've had them for a while, but they come in a metal tin, and they are metal, so they last a really long time. The only thing word of caution is this side is very sharp, and it's like dealing with, it's not quite as sharp as a knife, but it's pretty sharp, and I've cut myself many times on it. So that's my lesson. Okay, so I'm going to make some soap sample size. These could be scaled up or down for the top of your soap. This is a little trickier, but here's the thing about using this is that you could probably get a mold or a cookie cutter that'll do the same thing. But when I have an idea, I just want to get to it. I don't want to wait for the order, so I just make do with what I have. There, those are pretty even. Yeah, they look like buttons. And now we want to make the holes in there, so just a second. So soap dough is relatively new. I started bringing it to the foreground about in 2016, although I'd been doing it for quite a while before that. And one of the things about soap dough is that there aren't a lot of tools for soap dough. So plus it's a very creative thing. It's sort of like using, you know, polymer clay. So with that, before the industry starts to supply the tools that we want for our soap dough creations, we have to make do. So this is what I found on the internet. Hang on. So one of the things I do is I decide what I want to make, and then I figure out how to do that. So the idea comes first, and then I start sorting through the tools I'm going to need in order to accomplish that task. And I made a video how to make these buttons a long time ago, and I used a variety of different things. But this, I'll put a link in here where I found these metal cutters. They're a variety of shapes, just little shapes, and there's some I never use, like this. I could use an extruder for that shape. But there's a whole host of little shapes that I do use in here, and you might recognize some of those. The one thing I was after were these little shapes here. You can see I use that and put it away without wiping it off because there's soap in there. There. So it comes with this, let me see here, comes with these, and yes, you would think that these are going to get soap in them, but it's just soap, and so you can wash it out, let it soak or whatever, and wash it out. So we're going to make the button holes for this and see how this works out. I haven't used this little shape yet, so let's see if this works out. And I put stuff through plastic because it just keeps the surface cleaner, like no, you know, fewer crumbs. So granted, you have to be kind of careful with doing this, but everything I show you isn't for I mean, I suppose you could do it, but I'm not showing you for mass production. I'm showing you for your own curiosity, and so you can see the basics of how I make things. So we hope that the button itself is only got the indentation. So far that looks pretty good. But we want to get this centerpiece out. There. So what I did is take a little water with this to push these out so it doesn't catch. There, that's not too bad. Oops, there, put you back on camera. There. There. And I just dinged that little corner there, but that'll be all right. And then I'll show you how to finish those off. So I thought this would be, so they're not perfect, and I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is like, they're still neat-handed. They're not a lot of soap crumbs on there, and they're clean looking and all that. And so myself personally, I'm okay with that. If you wanted to, you could measure. I might have told you I'm not the measuring person. Anyway, this lollipop is so lovely, and you can see it has sort of an iridescence to it too, which I'm really pleased with. There's a thing in there. Okay, so let's do this one. Plus, if you wanted to make a few of these and let them cure, they'll be ready for Christmas if you do them. You know, they only take a couple weeks to actually get hard. I mean, they're not fully cured in a couple weeks, but maybe they are. I don't know. I don't weigh them. They're samples. So as soon as they get hard, I mean, let's put it this way. For a sample, these will bubble right now in this soft state. This will bubble as far as using it to wash. That is not a litmus to when things are ready, because if soap is through its saponification process, most of the time it'll bubble. So that really doesn't help. But they can't, for me, they need to be hard. And so how long is it going to take for water to evaporate from this little shape? I don't know, but I can tell you that they're going to be hard in about 2 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks. I usually leave them, I forget about them. So my soaps are curing for 8 weeks. Some people are starting to let theirs not cure that long, and I find them sticky, like the soap outside is sticky. I've tried it that way for my home use. I don't care for it. I like them when they're super cured. I had a soap that I found from about 5 years ago that I kept, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful, and it doesn't lose, like some soaps that aren't fully cured, if they go in the shower and any kind of water gets on them, they start to break down. And so the longer the soap is cured, well, that I can't say it that way. It's delicate, and that I think is personal preference. And so I will speak for myself only. I prefer samples, particularly 2 to 3 weeks. I leave them if they're about that size. Most of mine aren't any bigger than that. So that tells you what, I guess, hopefully that'll be helpful. I mean, this is an actual nuanced conversation. This isn't black and white. So please listen with a grain of salt and how it works for you in your world. An actual bar of soap for my world cures for 8 weeks. Sometimes I'll go 7 weeks, but they're no less than 7 weeks, because that's how I prefer my soap. So everything I do is what my preference is, what I like. I like my soap dough to look like this. It could be even a little firmer than that. I'm okay with it. And that's all I know about that. So we'll move on. The other thing I wanted to show you about this Lollipop, which I'm very, very pleased with. I can't take credit for it because I didn't create the soap dough. My partner did, because he's a lovely human being and he helps me. So I'm putting this in. This is my extruder. I'm putting this in. This is gold. actually Maya gold, which I think we'll have back in stock this week. So it's a little disc, and we'll get these out. See, they come out ribboned like that, just for a lot of different reasons, and I can't get into that right now. But anyway, so here's what we're going to do. Taper that a bit. And stick that inside. Oops. There. So even, here's another thing. I'm showing this on camera. You see that I just made this in real time. Well, kind of real time. I just made the buttons, and then I'm going to put some soap dough in there. But if you're going to make a bunch of these stocking stuffers, for example, you could make all these buttons and let them cure and then put the ribbons on later. So sometimes things get in our way, and it's okay to leave things to dry out and cure a bit and then work on them later. I've been asked that question many times, and you can put soap dough. This is what I've done successfully. So to me, that's more important than somebody's opinion. It's not my opinion. These are my experiences. So an opinion, I think, is based on a theory or an idea that they might have about something. Somebody says something. This is stuff that I've actually done and that I've learned from. So I can put, and you can see I have a video on here that I applied soap dough as a spider to a fully cured bar of soap. If you put water on with the soap dough, it works really well. If you take a freshly cut bar of soap and you apply soap dough, it works really well. Now, when I say soap dough, I mean pliable soap dough. Now, if you take a cured piece of something, of soap dough or soap, cold process, same thing. It's the same, very same thing. Cold process, soap, and soap dough cured equals the same thing. So if you take a cured piece of soap dough, one that's hard, and you try to apply it to another hard surface, you're going to struggle with it. That is the really hard thing to do. You can use cocoa batine, which I suggest in my book. It helps, and it can stick it if you use enough of it, for sure. It's just an inferior way to go about the process. So really what you want is a soft piece of soap dough and a cured bar. Either which way, they work. So if you took a soft piece of soap, if you took a freshly cut piece of cold process soap, a bar, and you took a cured flour and stuck that cured flour to, had to be small though, can't be super big, to the freshly cut soap bar, it'll stick with a little bit of water. So that goes back and forth. So, you know, let your imagination run wild with that. So now I'm going to put some more. I like the gold, but I wanted to put white, and I put this in. It's too big, so I'm going to put more. Now, I can go down the rabbit hole and talk about soap and soap dough all day. I don't always feel like talking. I feel like getting the work done mostly. And so I've asked, and people have mentioned many times they like to hear me talk about soap. So, or bird stories or whatever. So I'll do that sometimes. And so that's why I'm talking about soap today. I'll pretend we're having a conversation. So anyway, this one's, I think, a little bit smaller than the one I just used, and this has white in it. And these extruders can be found on Amazon. They're called Make-In, the ones I use. And there's other ones that are more expensive and quite lovely, and they hold more soap dough. So for the price of the other ones, you get one extruder that'll hold a lot of soap dough, and for a third of that price, you'll get a smaller extruder that holds less soap dough. So that, it depends on what you need it for or what you want it for. I would like to get one of those larger ones one day when I let myself spend the money. I'm kind of frugal like that. I don't really want to spend it if I can make do. So that's why you see me doing a lot of things without buying the actual mold or anything, because it's in my nature to make do. And that's how I started using soap dough, is because I had these failed soaps and I didn't know what to do with them. And so I made do with them. And then I had to figure out how to reproduce that and what the qualities were in it that I liked about it. And so it's me, essentially. Soap dough is a result of me not wanting to waste soap. And, ooh, I just did that. That's silly. Look at that. Well, I wasted that piece. Anyway, so that's why I want to show videos about what I'm making so that you can do that too. You get these basic shapes and you can make a lot of things. And in my Magic of Soap Dough book, that's what I talk about, what the basic shapes are, so that if you know this is built around a cone shape, like my bunnies are built around a cone shape, then you can create another character that isn't the bunny if you wanted to, or you could create the bunny. And you know, the idea too is about creating something for yourself, is that it brings you joy. So this soap dough, I've been sitting here while I was rambling on about soap dough, and you can see it's still great consistency. The only time I'll throw a piece of this out is when it's too dried out. I'm about to dry this out, by the way, so that's what's going to happen, is that, see how it's starting to crack? That's because every time I mash it and pull it out like this, it exposes it to air, and it'll start to look white. You can see it'll start to get pieces in there, and it's not near as smooth as that. So to wrap this up, I have another video with buttons, Christmas buttons. I used green and red and white to make these. I hope this helped, and I hope you understand soap dough a little bit more than you did before. And if you're new to the channel, know that I have hundreds of free YouTube video or free video tutorials. I also have a library channel that has ad-free stuff, because I can't really control the ads. YouTube let us know that they get to do whatever they want with our work over here. So I have on library, it's all backed up, and those are ad-free. You might have to sign up to watch, I'm not really sure, but it's not that big of a deal. And I have over 300 blog posts. I haven't counted. I've been saying I have over 300 blog posts for about 2 years, because I wrote all these blogs for the first few years that I was making soap, and now, so I'm sure there's like 350 or whatever. But so there's lots of material, and there's a search option, so you can go up there and search. Then I also offer for sale books, some printed. The printed books will be back in stock probably next year. But there's 2 printed books that are available. Oh, 3 printed books that are available. Both recipe books are available in print, and the Soapcraft Inspiration, which is also available on Amazon, those are in print and available. And when I say available, Sorcery Soap tries to package your order in within 24 hours. That's our deadline, 24 hours. So within 24 hours, and then we offer for the United States 2 to 3 day priority shipping, and so then it gets to you in like 2 to 3 days. So we try to not stretch that window out. So from the time it leaves our house and it's registered and you get your tracking number, you should expect it in 2 to 3 days. And sometimes lots of people say, which shockingly, and you know, a lot of my orders going to Puerto Rico have arrived in 2 days, which, you know, and some people even get it in 1 day, which is really amazing. So I have no arguments with the postal service at this point. Anyway, so yeah, we have print books in stock, and we have a unique soap cutter, and you could look on the videos and see I use those for ears and beaks and little pieces that I want to have very specifically shaped. And those are quite reasonably priced, and we have a whole bunch of those over there, and we have a lot of soap dough in stock as well. So I hope this helps. Now you can see this is going to have to go in the garbage. Because it's just so like, and you can see how I'm working it, and it's and I'm kneading it. So if you do this too much, the soap, you can still use this. I want to be really clear. It doesn't look as polished as this. So you can see how it might be worked too much, and then it's not going to come good. It's not going to be nice and smooth. Even with a little bit of water on my fingers. Oh, there we go. That looks a little bit better. Maybe that sort of smooths it out a bit. Anyway, this is the Lollipop color, and this will be available this Friday at 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. I don't know what that is on the East Coast, so so there you go. I hope this helped, and I hope it helps with some ideas for stocking stuffers. And now you can see you don't really need that much fancy stuff. These also, you could roll these out flat and cut little strips, so you don't even need the extruder to make these. So I hope your holidays are doing well, and you have a great day. Thanks.